What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So week 12 is officially in the rear view mirror, and like I said last week, with teams starting to get desperate as we get closer to the playoffs, there's a lot more craziness and a lot more better football, so it led to yet another week where we had a lot of great games. Maybe not the greatest slate looking into it and comparing it maybe to last week and a couple weeks ago with that crazy week 9 we had, but nonetheless, still a very crazy week, still a very fun week. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off on Thursday night, we had the Houston Texans getting a massive win over the Buffalo Bills, 23-19. And this was absolute defensive domination and a defensive showcase, more so for Houston. And this was a really critical game for both teams, and you could feel it just based off the intensity and competitiveness on every snap. As for Houston, again, the defense showed why it's one of the NFL's best, not only shutting down Buffalo, but completely dominating and taking over the entire game. I mean, they had 8 sacks on the night. It was incredible. And they've gone 3-0 after having to turn to Davis Mills, and all of a sudden, after their 0-3 start, they're in the thick of the wild card hunt. As for Buffalo, considering that the team they're chasing, the Patriots, continue to win and win, this is a really tough game to drop. It's really not code red, I would say, for the Bills, but there's little to no room for error at this point. The defense overall looked pretty good. They kept Houston in check for the most part, but when it came down to getting off the field, making the big play, they couldn't do it, and that's become a recurring problem for this unit, and it's really why I struggle to have faith in this team once we get to January. Then moving to Sunday, we had the Chicago Bears pulling off yet another win, taking down the Steelers 31-28, and this really solidified that these two teams are not the versions of themselves that we're used to seeing. These are two new iterations of both of these teams, for better and for worse. And this was a fun back and forth playoff style game that these two teams gave us. As for Chicago, the offense continues to become more and more of a legit unit. The more they gel, the more faith I have in them. And I mean, Ben Johnson has really unlocked who the Bears thought they were selecting in Caleb Williams and who they ended up selecting in Caleb Williams in last year's draft. As I mentioned before, these are not the same old Bears. They are learning how to win games, and they are a legit dangerous team as we head into the final stretch here and as we head into the playoffs. As for Pittsburgh, considering they were starting their backup quarterback, and I get that the Bears were basically trotting out a practice squad defense, but I would say the offense had a fantastic day and really kept them in it. The problem is the Steelers lost this game because the defense reverted back to its earlier season form, where they got absolutely shredded through the air. Caleb Williams threw it where he wanted, and DJ Moore caught it and ran wherever he wanted. It was really insane to watch. And again, this is just baffling to me because I'm not used to seeing this out of the Steelers. I don't think I've ever seen this out of the Steelers. But after their little heater they had the past couple of weeks, the defense has once again become a problem and has become something that can and will hold the Steelers back here. Then continuing through the 1 o'clock window, the New England Patriots took down the Cincinnati Bengals 26-20. And this was a surprisingly close game because New England had a really hard time pulling away and putting away the Bengals. As for New England, they have unfortunately given some ammunition to the weak schedule narrative. Not saying I'm a believer in it, it's just discourse that I have seen from NFL fans media as the season has gone on. They really played down to their competition and failed to put a lesser team away. A win is a win, but the offense kind of came back down to earth a little bit. They were very conservative. They lacked explosiveness. Stephon Diggs really wasn't the factor. They, for some reason, did not give Henderson the carries that I would have liked to see with the Ramondre Stevenson coming back. Really considering the defense they were going against, a lot of these explosive plays should have happened. They just didn't. Again, though, a win is a win. I won't fault you for that, but maybe some concerning habits came to light in this game for the Patriots. As for Cincinnati, this is yet another week where the Bengals were right there. They were maybe 1 or 2 plays away. They just couldn't do it. With Burrow coming back this upcoming Thursday, the Bengals managed a 1-8 record in his absence, when they really should have won maybe 3 or 4, and they are 3 games out of a playoff spot with Burrow coming back. It's really not ideal. Then continuing through the 1 o'clock window, we had the Detroit Lions taking down the New York Giants in overtime, 34-27, and these two teams just randomly decided to put on one of the best offensive showcases we've seen in quite some time. The grand total was 1,011 yards of total offense in this game. That is ridiculous. As for Detroit, not exactly what I had in mind for this team having adversity for playing with their backs against the wall of sorts, but a win is a win. Again, though, if the defense plays like that down the stretch, I don't think we're going to be talking about many more Lions wins here. But, all hail Jahmyr Gibbs, best running back in the league. I don't think that it's any debate at this point. As for the Giants, I mean, Jameis did what Jameis does. He chucks it without a regard of his stat line, and once again, he is the most entertaining quarterback in the league. And look, they showed fight against a contender on game number 2 of them having an interim coach. Besides winning, there's really not a lot else you can ask for out of this team. I mean, but seriously, if the Giants could just hold leads, they'd be fighting for a playoff spot right now. If football games were only 3 quarters long, the Giants would be a dynasty. It's insane just how much this team loves to blow leads and how consistently it happens. It's like you almost have to actively try to blow leads to do it at the rate the Giants do it at. It's insane. Then continuing through the 1 o'clock window, we had the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Again, in overtime, we had quite a bit of these on Sunday. 23-20. And the dynasty is not dead yet. Real talk, though, it really wasn't the performance I was expecting out of the Kansas City Chiefs for the first 3 quarters. As for Kansas City, like I said, that 4th quarter is when the team that we're all used to seeing these past 10 or so years really came out to play. Their season was hanging by a thread, their backs were up against the wall, and they did what champions do. They found a way to win, regardless of how pretty it was. And there's still work to do, and they still need a lot of help. They're a game out of the playoffs now, and they have a couple teams that have the inside track on them, with Houston and Pittsburgh having the tiebreakers as of right now. As for Indianapolis, this was your chance to prove yourselves as being a legit threat and a legit team, and we come out of this game with a lot more questions than answers about this team. With Kansas City limiting Jonathan Taylor's run game, I believe he only averaged about 3 or so yards per carry, which is about half of what he has all season. Daniel Jones had to step up, and he didn't. He just straight up did not step up. He did not have a good game. And once again, when he wasn't throwing to Warren, he was bad. And I really think it's time to start having this Daniel Jones conversation. I'm not like hitting the panic button, but I really do not think he's built for the moment. I don't think, from what I've seen, that he is a franchise quarterback that can and will lead his team to clutch victories down the stretch and in the playoff. And his season is eerily similar to that of Russell Wilson last year. What I mean by that is when the Steelers were on a heater, when they got up to 8-3, everyone was thinking the Steelers might have found their guy. Russell Wilson just needed a change in scenery. Mike Tomlin knows how to win with him. And then obviously the Steelers went on that late season collapse, finished 10-7. Wilson was awful, and they ended up getting smoked in the playoffs. Obviously, it's 2 completely different players at 2 different stages of their career, but I can't help but see the parallels here. I think that now that Daniel Jones is starting to play in some pretty big games, now that the Colts have played themselves into playoff positioning and played themselves into meaningful games here in November and as we get into December, and it just seems like that he's just taking a back seat like too much. The team depends on Jonathan Taylor, but they can't depend on Daniel Jones. When they have to, he's just shown consistently the past couple of weeks that he can't do it. I'll have to see a couple more weeks of this before I fully sell my stock on Daniel Jones. And the Colts have some pretty big games here coming up, so there's plenty of opportunity for him to either prove me wrong or prove me right. Then moving to the 4 o'clock window, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars taking down the Arizona Cardinals. In overtime, like I said, we had a lot of these. 27-24. My God, despite everything both of these teams did to make sure that no one did, one of these teams won this game. As for Jacksonville, I mean, the less said the better. The offense was rough. Lawrence was rough. The defense got carved but saved it at the end. A win is a win. Like, that's about as positive as I can be for the Jaguars here. And all of a sudden, the Jaguars are a game back of the Colts for the AFC South lead. So, like I said, it wasn't pretty, but a win is a win, and an important win at that. As for Arizona, it's more of the same for the Cardinals. They did some good, but also made some boneheaded plays just to make sure that they ended up coming out as the losing team here. And stay tuned, as I promised, the Arizona Cardinals video is in development and it is on the way. Then continuing through the 4 o'clock window, we had the Dallas Cowboys taking down the Philadelphia Eagles 24-21. And this was a tale of 2 halves. Each team took a turn dominating. The Eagles stormed out to 21-0 lead, then the Cowboys stormed back themselves, tied it up, and eventually won the game on a walk-off field goal. And the NFC East all of a sudden could be back in play here. As for Dallas, this was a huge character win against the division leader in all facets of the game. Again, after they went down 21-0, they really were the better team, and they got a nice team win. And like I said, after getting blitzed, no pun intended, the defense really buckled down, allowing the offense to go to work, which again they did, and led Dallas to a huge win here. As for Philadelphia, considering just how dominant they looked in the first half, this is a really disappointing result. Now, I'm not saying that it was like this for sure, but I couldn't help while I was watching the game, think that this kind of had the same vibes as the Sunday night loss in Dallas in 2023. And if you can remember, that was kind of the loss that kickstarted the implosion of that 2023 season. But it is fully up to them. The ball is in their court to make sure that this doesn't start another 2023 like skid. They've put themselves in a good position, 8-3, leading the division, 2 seed as of right now. So they're in a favorable position to avoid a 2023 like skid. Then on the Sunday night, we had the LA Rams taking down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-7. And I'll be honest, this game recap was done in the third quarter. This was an absolute beatdown. As for LA, I said in my recap last week that after teams get their biggest win of the season, there's about a 50-50 shot that they have a letdown the next week. It's safe to say that that did not happen in this game. This was complete domination in all aspects of the game. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching. This was about as one-sided as it can get. And now with this statement win, the Rams sit alone as the NFC's 1 seed. As for Tampa Bay, it's unbelievable just how bad they played and how unprepared they looked considering how big this game was for them, both in terms of the NFC and the NFC South. And despite the skid and the injuries, you're still in control of the NFC South and your own destiny within the division, but it's really looking like 3 seed is your ceiling now. Then on Monday night, we had the 49ers taking down the Carolina Panthers 20-9, and out of all of the games that I've ever watched throughout my lifetime, this was definitely one of them. As for San Francisco, they dominated in time of possession and they dominated in the run game. And it was really only an ugly win for them because Brock Purdy was in a very giving mood. He loved throwing interceptions in this game. It was really not his best game, but the Niners did end up winning. This is a very playoff style grudge match, and I'm not surprised that the Niners knew how to win a game like this and that they did so. As for Carolina, once again, the roller coaster that is the 2025 Panther season continues. Just when you think they're dead in the water, Bryce Young throws for 430, and just when you think they've got something going, they go out and put out 9 points on national television. I truly do not know what to make of this team, so I can't say what the expectation is as far as playoffs go or even the upcoming offseason goes. So we'll have to see how the Panthers do down the stretch here before I can even think about saying anything on the matter of those two factors. And before we look ahead to week 13, I thought now would be a good time to start looking at the playoff picture and start updating it and getting an idea of who's in and who's out each given week. First off, in the AFC, as of right now, the Patriots are in sole possession of the number 1 seed at 10-2. The Broncos, who were idle this past week, are the 2 seed at 9-2. The Colts are the 3 seed at 8-3. And the Ravens are the 4 seed at 6-5. The 5 seed is the LA Chargers, the 6 seed is the Jaguars, and the 7 seed right now is the Buffalo Bills. And then our teams in the hunt, the Houston Texans have the inside track to catch the Buffalo Bills, and the Steelers and Chiefs are right behind them. And shifting over to the NFC, the LA Rams moved into sole possession of the 1 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles are the 2 seed, the Chicago Bears are the 3 seed, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers keep their division lead and keep the 4 seed. Seattle is the 5 seed, Green Bay is the 6 seed, and San Francisco is the 7 seed. And then looking at teams in the hunt right now, that is the Detroit Lions, Carolina Panthers, and Dallas Cowboys. And looking ahead to week 13, obviously this week is Thanksgiving week, so we have a bit of a shakeup in the usual game lineup. We've got 3 games on Thursday, then another game on Friday afternoon before our usual Sunday and Monday slate. First up, on Thanksgiving, our first game is the usual Detroit Lions game, as they will be welcoming in the Green Bay Packers. And this year's annual Detroit Thanksgiving game is a pretty big one. The winner of this game will have the inside track on possibly catching the Bears within the NFC North. Then in the afternoon, we head down to Dallas for the usual Thanksgiving game, as they will be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And you don't need me to tell you that this is a pretty big one. Both teams got a huge win last week to keep pace in the wild card race, but that doesn't mean anything because both teams desperately need a win yet again to keep pace in the wild card race. Then Thursday night, we have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. And this will be Joe Burrow's return. Zach Taylor confirmed that he will play on Thursday, and his return is against the sizzling Ravens. Obviously, 5 in a row, they have taken possession of first place in the North. And if it hasn't happened already, this is last call for the Bengals, and they're really slim to none playoff chances. As for Baltimore, the roles have switched a little bit. They are now in control of the AFC North, and they now have Pittsburgh breathing down their neck, so they need every win they can get on top of their already 5-game win streak that they're on. Then on Friday afternoon, we've got a big one. We've got the Chicago Bears traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. And in terms of seeding, this has all of a sudden become a massive game within the NFC. And also, as for Chicago, one of the 2 teams, that being the Lions and Packers, that are trying to catch them within their own division, is guaranteed to get a win on Thursday, so this is a pretty important game for them. Then moving to Sunday, first up, we've got the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. And obviously the Rams are coming off that statement and humiliation of the Panthers' own division rival, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. While for Carolina, we once again have no idea what we're getting out of the Panthers, so we'll really have to wait until kickoff here. Then continuing through the 1 o'clock slate, we've got the 6-5 Houston Texans traveling to Indianapolis to take on the 8-3 Colts. And this is a huge game in the AFC South. For the Colts side, it is a chance for them to regain some ground that they have lost a little bit here in the last couple weeks within the AFC South. And for the Texans, it's a chance to keep this heater going and for themselves to gain some ground within the AFC South and the wild card race as a whole. And we'll really have to wait and see on Stroud. I think his status for this game is going to be a massive factor. I know that Davis Mills is on a 3-game heater himself, but I think the Colts are kind of another animal. I think we really have to wait and see if Stroud is going to play to really determine how this game is going to go. Then moving to the 4 o'clock slate, we've got the Buffalo Bills traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. These are two teams that are battling for playoff positioning that have also struggled on the defensive side of the ball, so I really think we could be in for a very fun game with a lot of fireworks, game with a lot of points, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Then on Sunday Night Football, we've got the 9-2 Denver Broncos traveling to Washington to take on the 3-8 Commanders. And coming off of the bye, barring who and if the Broncos get anyone back, this is a massive opportunity for them to keep this heater going coming off the bye week and really get right back to where they were before they went on the bye last week. And for Washington, I really doubt that Daniels is going to be back this week. He is practicing, but he is listed as a long shot for this game, but really never say never. Teams get desperate and sometimes do some pretty desperate stuff, so never say never. Then on Monday night, we've got the New York Giants traveling to New England to take on the Patriots. And I guess really the only thing of note here is that the Brady Belichick Patriots always had some trouble with these New York Giants, regardless of how good or bad they were. I don't foresee that happening with the new head coach and quarterback in town, but the Patriots did kind of struggle to put the Bengals away last week. So who knows? Maybe the Giants will give them a game. And I really think Dart's status will have a huge impact on that. But that is it for me. If you have any thoughts of your own on this past week, the week ahead, feel free to drop them in the comments. Any thoughts on what I said, again, both this past week and the week ahead, feel free to also drop them in the comments. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to like and subscribe. It's completely optional, but greatly appreciated. That is it for me. I want to wish everyone a happy, safe, fun Thanksgiving. Enjoy week 13, and I'll see you in the next one.